G'day everyone, and welcome back to representing numbers to 1,000 on a number line. Now in this learning video, you are going to be looking at numbers that are above 10, 20, 30. They're going to be looking at even above 100. You're going to be going into the hundreds and getting up to those 900 numbers, just before 1,000. Okay, so in this video, we're going to be looking at number lines. Now, Mr. Hanna in the last video, he looked at numbers and he looked at how you can use them in your everyday life. Numbers that are bigger than just 10 and 20. We're looking at numbers that are going into the hundreds, 600, 700, 800. Let's get juicy on these numbers today. Okay, so this learning video is going to be looking at that and how we can use the numbers on a number line. A little look at using a number line. Now, if we have a look at this number line here at the top, we can see that there are the numbers 0 all the way to 100. Now, what do you think they're actually counting in here? That's correct, they're counting in 10. So each of these lines actually equals 10. And we can see that it starts at 0, the next one is 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, and so on. The next number line down the bottom here, we can see that the numbers actually, each of these lines is actually counting in ones. So we're starting at 190 and we're ending on this one here, which is 200 and something. By the end of this learning video, you're going to be able to know what each of these numbers are. Now you might be thinking, Mr. Graham, how can we be counting in ones when we're starting at 190? Well, if you look after 190, we are 191, then 192, then 193. So we are still counting in ones, we're just counting with bigger numbers. And that's the whole idea of this video. We are using numbers to 1,000. So we're not simply using ones and tens and going to 100, we're going above 100. There are going to be numbers here that are going to be 900 or 800. Bigger numbers, because that's what you need to know by the end of grade 2. Okay, so keep that in mind that we are still, the top one here, you can either use number lines that are counting in tens, or you can use number lines that are counting in ones. If we have a look at the next slide, we'll be able to understand some of the language that you need to understand for this video. Let's go and have a look. Now on this slide, we can see that there are names here. Okay, between, more or less, and we need to know what does that mean. Now we know that between, if I said to you, go and sit between the door and the bin, you would sit in between the door and the bin. That's an easy one. So if I said to you to find a number between 3 and 5, the number between 3 and 5 is 4. It's between those two numbers. If I said to you, find the number that is 1 more than 5, you would click on the number that is 6. You are counting on. You are finding a number that is more than that number. If I said to you, find the number that is less than that number, you are counting backwards. Okay? If I said to you, you have 5 less than Mr. Graham, you will have 5 less things than what Mr. Graham has. I will have more than what you have because you have less than me. So you're going to be using the number line to work out the numbers that are between, that are more, and that are less, and finding the missing number on the number line by using those 3 elements on a number line. Okay, so over here we have a number line. And we can see that for the work we have done that this is a number line. Now the first thing you need to do when you see a number line is tell me what each of these lines are counting in. Now before in this lesson we looked at whether they're counting in tens or whether they're counting in ones. So let's work together here and work that out. Are they counting in tens or are they counting in ones? Now I want you to forget about how big each of these numbers are. So don't worry about the 4 there. Just look at the 10, 20, 30. What are they increasing by, ones or tens? Tens, absolutely. So each of these represent 10. Okay, so the first one we're going to look at is between. So I want you to tell me, what is the number between 430 and 450? Between means it has to go in between these numbers. So we are looking at this one here. We can see that there's a number over this side, 430, and there's a number this side. So pretend that this number belonged to Mr. Graham, this one number will belong to Mr. Quinn. I want you to find the number between Mr. Graham and Mr. Quinn, and that is your number. So what is the number then that is between 430 and 450? Pause the video and work that out for me. Okay, what have we got? It's got to be 400, doesn't it? Okay, and we are counting in 10. So what's 10 more than 30? 40. Okay, so between 430 and 450 is 440. So we've done between. Excellent. Let's do that one again. What about the number between 480 and 500? So Miss Kriegish's number is 480. Miss Marinon's number is 500. Mrs. Burr's sits between these two numbers. What is Mrs. Burr's number? It's between 500 and 480. Who can work that out? We know it's got to be 400. And what's 10 more? Because we know that each of these are counting in tens. So what is 10 more than 80? 90. Excellent. Excellent. So the number between 480 and 500 is 490. Now, we've done our between. Now we're going to do more. Now that's terrible handwriting there from Mr. Graham, and I know that you can do better than that. So more means that we need to be counting on. So what is the number that is 10 more than 450? So we're trying to find what this here is. What is a number that is 10 more than 450? So what is this missing number here? It's 10 more than 450. So we know that it's in the 400s, don't we? And what is 10 more than 50? 60. Excellent. Here we go. Let's work this one out then. Put your finger on the number when you get it. What is the number that is 10 more than 410? So 410 is here. What's 10 more than 410? Did you get 420? You are spot on. What is the number that is 10 more than 470? What is 10 more than 470? Did you get 480? Spot on. Last one. What is the number that is 10 more than 420? What's 10 more than 420? Did you get 430? Spot on. Excellent. So we've done now between and more. Let's go ahead and do less. Okay, now less is the same as take away. Okay, less means you are getting less amount. So as someone said to you, you have 10 less than Mr. Graham, you're going to have less, you're not going to have as many as what Mr. Graham has because you are taking them away. Okay, so here we go. If we had the number 480, what is 10 less than 480? 10 less than 480. Now, if you're going less, you are actually going this way. Okay? You are going this way, and that is take away. Okay? So the number we said was 480. What's 10 less than 480? Up and down, 470. Excellent. What is the number that is 10 less than 430? Remember, if we're going less, which means take away, we are going this way. So what is the number that is 10 less than 430? 420. Absolutely. Spot on. Now, there is one missing number in this number line. Okay, it is 10 more than 500. Can you tell Mr. Graham what that number is? So you've had a chance now to pause your video. We know now that if we're going more, we are going from our left hand to our right, and we are adding on. So the number that is 10 more than 500 is, we know it's 500 and it's 510. Give yourself a big yahoo if you got that number correct. Now, go now and complete your practice task, which looks at each of these elements. Good job, Year 2.